You spend your day collecting evidence of why things aren't working, then wonder why you feel terrible. What if the problem isn't the evidence, it's the courtroom you built in your head? And what if there's a way to replace that entire system with something that actually serves you? Today we're looking at how we unconsciously turn our minds into courtrooms where we're constantly prosecuting ourselves, others, and life itself. We think we're being logical, building cases based on facts. But what we're really doing is choosing to see through a lens of guilt and grievance instead of possibility and connection. There's another way to use this same mental power, and it changes everything. Here's what I mean. Sarah's in the Monday meeting when her colleague Mark presents her idea as his own. Watch what happens in her mind. The gavel slams down. Court is now in session. The prosecutor, that relentless voice in her head, immediately starts building the case. Evidence A: Mark also took credit for Jennifer's work last quarter. Evidence B: the boss always favors him anyway. Evidence C: this proves what she already suspected, nice people finish last. By the time the meeting ends, Sarah has assembled an airtight case. She's guilty of being too trusting. Mark's guilty of being a snake. The workplace is guilty of systemic unfairness. The verdict is in, and everyone loses. She'll spend the rest of the day, maybe the week, adding evidence to this case. Every small interaction gets filed away as proof. But here's what we miss: Sarah's not unique. We all have this internal prosecutor who never takes a day off. Right now, you might be building a case against your morning, your body, your bank account, your relationships. The prosecutor is always gathering evidence, always preparing for trial. And this prosecutor is brilliant. It remembers every slight, every disappointment, every moment things didn't go as planned. It cross-references current pain with past wounds. It finds patterns that prove its case. See, it says, this always happens. People always let you down. You always fall short. Life is always unfair. The really insidious part: we think this is helping us. We think we're being smart, protective, realistic. We're just learning from experience, right? But notice what this actually creates. Sarah's now tense, defensive, plotting her next move. She's rehearsing confrontations that may never happen. She's building walls where there could be bridges. Her whole nervous system is in fight or flight mode over something that already happened and can't be changed. This is the courtroom we live in. Every grievance becomes evidence. Every hurt becomes proof. And we wonder why we feel exhausted, isolated, stuck in patterns we can't seem to break. But what if, stay with me here, what if you're not obligated to run this courtroom at all? What if there's no cosmic law that says you must prosecute every offense, build every case, deliver every verdict? Let's go back to Sarah. Same meeting, same situation. Mark presents her idea. The initial sting is there. That's human. But this time, something different happens. Instead of convening court, she notices the prosecutor starting to build the case, and she gently sets down the gavel. What else is possible here? She asks herself. And in that space, that tiny pause where she doesn't rush to prosecute, something shifts. Maybe Mark genuinely forgot it was her idea. Maybe he's drowning at home and desperately trying to look competent. Maybe this is an opportunity to have a real conversation about collaboration. Maybe, and here's where it gets interesting, maybe this moment is offering her something she can't see yet. Because here's what we're actually entitled to, not the verdicts we think we want, but something much more powerful. We're entitled to see every situation, every single one, as containing a hidden gift. Not in some fake positive thinking way, but as a genuine opportunity to choose connection over separation, understanding over judgment, possibility over prosecution. This is what miracles actually are. These moments when we trade our grievances for a completely different way of seeing. And we're entitled to them, not because we've earned them or deserve them, but because this is how we're designed to operate. The courtroom isn't our natural state. It's a habit we learned, and habits can be unlearned. Think about it. When you're not prosecuting, what happens to your body? The shoulders drop. The jaw unclenches. The breath deepens. When you're not gathering evidence of wrongness, what do you notice instead? Maybe the colleague who irritates you is actually struggling. Maybe the partner who disappointed you is doing their best with limited tools. Maybe you, the one you prosecute most harshly, deserve the compassion you'd give a good friend. Sarah tries this. After the meeting, instead of building her case, she walks up to Mark. "That was my idea," she says simply, without attack. "Let's talk about how we can work together better." Mark's face changes. Turns out he's been terrified of failing, grabbing at anything to stay afloat. They end up having the most honest conversation they've had in 2 years. Was this the outcome she expected? No. Was it the verdict her prosecutor wanted? Definitely not. But was it a miracle? A shift from separation to connection? From fear to something approaching love? Absolutely. So how do we make this practical? How do we actually dismiss the court when it's been running our lives for so long? First, you have to catch yourself building the case. This alone is huge. Most of us are so identified with the prosecutor that we don't even notice when court is in session. But once you see it, oh, I'm gathering evidence again. I'm building a case against my commute, my weight, my mother's comment. You have a choice. Second, you ask yourself, what if there's a miracle hiding behind this grievance? Not, what's the silver lining, or, how can I spiritually bypass this pain? But genuinely, what if this situation, exactly as it is, contains an invitation to see differently? Third, you act from that different seeing. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. Sarah still addressed the issue with Mark, but she did it from curiosity and connection, not from the prosecutor's desk. The actions might look similar from the outside, but the energy is completely different. And people feel that energy. They respond to it. Here's what I'm learning. We're not subject to the laws of the courtroom we created. Those laws, the ones that say we must prosecute, must defend, must prove our case, they're not real laws. They're habits. The real law, if there is one, is much simpler. We're entitled to peace. We're entitled to connection. We're entitled to see miracles where we once saw only evidence for prosecution. And once you start looking for these miracles instead of evidence, they show up everywhere. The traffic jam becomes a chance to breathe and listen to music. The difficult conversation becomes an opportunity to practice staying open. The mistake becomes a doorway to self-compassion. Even the big betrayals, the real wounds, they become invitations to the deepest healing. This isn't about denying pain or pretending everything's fine. It's about recognizing that you have a choice in how you relate to what happens. You can be the prosecutor, building cases and delivering verdicts. Or you can be someone who looks for the miracle, the shift in perception that transforms everything. Sarah's story didn't end with that one conversation. But something fundamental changed. She stopped feeding the courtroom. She started expecting miracles, small shifts in perception, instead of collecting grievances. Her whole experience of work transformed, not because her workplace became perfect, but because she stopped prosecuting it. And here's the thing, you're reading this for a reason. Some part of you is tired of being the prosecutor. Some part of you senses that all this evidence gathering isn't serving you. That part is right. You weren't built for the courtroom. You were built for something much more beautiful. A way of seeing that transforms ordinary moments into doorways, problems into possibilities, grievances into grace. The verdict you're really looking for isn't guilty or innocent. It's the moment you realize you can step out of the courtroom entirely. That's the miracle you're entitled to, and it's waiting for you right now, hiding behind whatever you're prosecuting today. If you'd like more teachings and guided practices like this, you can like the video and subscribe. And now, we'll move into a short guided meditation. Let yourself arrive here. Feel your body settling into this moment. There's nothing to prosecute right now. Nothing to defend against. Just this breath. Just this quiet space. Notice your shoulders. Let them soften. Notice your jaw. Let it release. All those cases you've been building today, they can wait. The courtroom can adjourn. Breathe naturally. Feel how your body knows how to do this without any judgment, without any evidence gathering. Your heart beats without prosecuting itself. Your lungs expand without building a case. If you notice your mind starting to gather evidence about how you're meditating, about what you should be feeling, just smile gently. There goes the prosecutor again. It's okay. Let the gavel rest. Feel the space that opens when you're not building cases. Feel how much energy becomes available when you're not prosecuting. This is your natural state. This peace. This openness. Rest here. Behind every grievance your mind wants to pursue, there's this quiet miracle waiting. The miracle of simply being. Of not needing to prove anything. Of letting yourself exist without evidence. Notice how different your body feels when court is not in session. This lightness. This ease. You can return here anytime. You can dismiss the court whenever you remember. Take one more breath in this space. Feel yourself here, undefended, unprosecuted, free. This is what you're entitled to. This peace beneath all the cases. When you're ready, let your eyes gently open. Carry this feeling with you. The courtroom will try to reconvene, it always does. But now you know, you can set down the gavel. You can look for the miracle instead. Thank you for practicing with us today. If you'd like, There's a link to a free digital copy of ACIM in the description. And if this video resonated with you, please comment. I am grateful. Thank you for spending this time with me, for being willing to question the courtroom that's been running in the background of your mind. Whatever you're facing today, remember, you don't have to prosecute it. There's always another way to see. Be gentle with yourself as you practice this. The miracle is always there, waiting just behind the grievance.